Hello and welcome to another edition of Real Talk. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to talk 100% property, and we're going to talk about what goes up must come down and vice versa. I was really saddened to hear a group of people talking yesterday about how they're really concerned about buying in the market at the moment because interest rates are going to go up. I really think we need to reframe that. The truth is, interest rates are just really down at the moment. So if you actually look at how the RBA work in line with bank and lending policies for almost 2 years now, if you go for a loan or you want to borrow money from the bank, they stress test you at 7.2%. Now, with the average interest rate since 1920 being at 8%, it's marginally below the average that the country has endured since we've been keeping accurate records. So it's not so much that interest rates are going to go up, they're actually just going to return to normal. Now, a really sweet spot is around 6%, still below market, great place for an investor. But of course, people think now 6.5%. When we started Solid, by the way, interest rates were 7.2% and dropped quite quickly to 6.5 and then incrementally dropped down to where they lie now at around about 4 to 4.5%. For home loans fixing, you can get under 3. But the reality is that even at 6.5%, we were making really good investment decisions around affordability, capacity, and the ability to service that. So what we've got at the moment is an absolute bull market in the property sector. Now let's dissect that. We've got the first homeowner market who are really under pressure. We've got the investor market. We've got the superannuation property purchase market. And we've got the foreign investor market. Now, where we're finding the bull market is in the homeowner market, not so much the investor market. And why is that? It's really simple, it's affordability. If you look at the weekend's auction results, we had a 77% clearance rate. The median price in clearance rate was $955,000. Unbelievable. 77% clearance rate, 21% sold before they even got to auction. So you add your 21 to your 77, you've got a colossal market there. Why is it so busy at the moment in that sector? It's because the amount of people coming to Melbourne. We've currently got, if you look at the geography of Melbourne, you've got the Mount Dandenong Ranges, which are quite elongated. You've got the Bay. So in between that, that's where the sweet spot is. If you actually look at Melbourne, it's almost like someone's cracked an egg and it's slightly off-centred because the north isn't actually as big in growth as the southeast corridor. But what's happening at the further southeast corridor is there's not as much land available for release as there is in the western corridor. So you've got a lot of supply in the west, limited supply in the southeast. But what you've really got is where people want to live in the donut, which is the 10 kilometre radius, and then the metropolitan radius, let's say 50 kilometres. That is actually where there is deemed a relative shortage of properties. Last weekend, it showcased that the donut is still the hot spot to buy. Kew, Canterbury, Surrey Hills, not so much Surrey Hills, Brighton, they were the top performing suburbs on the weekend. The bargain places were seen as Leopold, Nor Lane, which is all out of Geelong, and interestingly enough, out of Melbourne. So where's all this heading? It's heading that we've got a shortage of property because geographically we've got the bay and we've got the mountain, so there's only so much land there. We've got corridors that spread, but transport, amenity and work-life balance starts to drop off the further you go. The homeowner market is the one that's in a tearaway bull market at the moment. There's not so much land. There's 2,000 people coming to Melbourne every week. 220 are coming from Sydney because they can't afford Sydney properties. So while we continue to have people come to Melbourne, honestly, don't listen to all this la talk about negative gearing is responsible for tearaway property prices. I can tell you now, I bought my first property at 24 and I'm settling on another property at the age of 53 shortly. I have seen so many, I've had more recessions or downtimes than I've had up times. It's nothing to do with negative gearing. It's all to do with the scarcity of property and the population growth in Melbourne and the lack of supply. So if you look at where the future lies, while Melbourne is the place to live, properties are going to be in a runaway situation. The investor market, on the other hand, is a lot more even ebb and flow at the moment. They said 165,000 properties would come on the market, only 35,000 did. They're now saying we're heading for an undersupply. Who can get it right? I'll leave on that note. Thank you so much.